Hello, it's, oh heavens. Hello, it's Jane here, and I've brought you up to the greenhouse today because I'm going to do a series of short videos, only 3, I promise only 3, and I promise they'll be short, about how to get your plants for free, because we're at that time of year. Here in the UK, we are mid-March, and it's the time of year where, well, to be honest, the last couple of months, you're looking around and you're thinking, oh, that seed packet looks nice, you know, that packet of bulbs looks good, that tree looks nice. And before you know it, the costs of the plants that you are growing start to mount up. It's all very well buying a packet of seeds and thinking, it's only a couple of pounds. Buy another packet of seeds, only a couple of pounds. By the time you have bought 10 packets of seeds, £20 or more, depending where you go. So I thought it'd be interesting to just have a little think about different ways we can make our own plants through the most simple methods. And today, the one I'm going to be talking about is using saved seed. Now, the reason this came up is because a few days ago, a friend of mine who's just got an allotment was talking about saved seed. I was showing her a few bits and bobs, and she was talking about saved seed and saying, what exactly is this saved seed? Is it somewhere you get it from specially? You know, is it something someone's been saving and they're handing out secretly type of thing? And I had to say, no, it's as simple as it sounds. It is literally seed that you have saved from a plant the year before. So you think, when you think about a plant, whether it's a vegetable or a flower, because I'm mainly talking about perennial plants and, well, actually perennial plants in this case, or biennial plants or annuals, anything like that. The whole aim of that plant is to produce some seed, okay? It wants to live. More often than not, we come along and chop its head off and put it in a vase or eat it. But that poor plant wants to live. And so it will try its hardest to produce seed for the following year to keep itself going. Not itself, but its relations, family. They're very family minded. And so by whatever way that seed gets distributed, whether it's carried off by a bird and deposited elsewhere, whether it's blown off by the wind, whether the rain takes it along little channels, it will grow and colonise the area it's in. What our job to do is, if we want to have some of that seed from that very, very clever little plant, all we do is wait until the flower of the, I keep saying plant, there must be another word, the flower of the plant has fully grown, the petals have fallen off, and the seed heads start to develop and ripen and eventually dry out. Now, it's at this stage that a lot of people, especially if you just garden, you don't garden for vegetables, you garden for the flowers. Most people will see a flower with the petals falling off and they'll go ahead and snip it off. That's great, that's great, that's called deadheading. That's why we want our garden to look nice. We want to encourage that plant to produce more flowers and more seeds. And the way to do that is behead the poor thing, okay? What we want to do eventually is allow a couple of those seed heads, as I say, to grow. And I'm going to bring you over here and show you just what you get at the end of it. I am sorry, you just fell off the workbench, and I really hope that the screen isn't cracked or blurred, because if it is, you'll just have to listen all the more carefully as to what I'm about to say. And it's made me whisper, and I don't know why, but I feel like you're in a bit of a delicate situation. So anyway, let me show you what I meant. Right, what I have got here are some sweet peas that I saved the seed from, or rather it's sweet pea seed that I saved last year in a paper envelope. When you are collecting your seed, you want to make sure it is at the ripest possible moment, which means leaving it on the plant until it looks like it's about to come off, because that's when it's trying to replant itself. Paper envelopes are absolutely fine. You can use paper bags, but you want something where you're not going to have any moisture. These need to be kept completely dry. And if you look at those seeds there, they are your saved sweet pea seeds, right? If you then look at some of the sweet peas that I originally sowed last year, and these ones are called Summer Sizzler. I'll show you the difference in a minute. I wonder if I've actually got any in here. Yeah, I've got a couple left, literally a couple. Can you see those? Do they look any different? Oh, that one's trying to escape. Look at that. Do they look at... Never work with children, animal or seeds right now. Can you see it? Okay. They are, let me try and do a two-hander, exactly the same as those. Okay. Saved seed, shop bought seed. The main difference is, put those little fellas back in there. Where are we? Can you see that? The price. So originally, this packet of seeds cost me the grand total of £2.55. Okay? Yeah. So I have saved already £2.55. If I show you the difference, these are the saved seed. These are the shop bought seed. And the only difference is, to be honest, I think I've pricked, or I've pinched the tops off these. And I haven't pinched the tops off these. These are a little bit more leggy. When I say pinch the tops off, I'm literally just going to pull the top off like that, because I want to try and encourage it to be bulkier. And the thing is, with anything that's been sown earlier in the season, it does start to get a bit leggy. So you want to try and keep it quite nice and sturdy. Trim the tops off. But you see, there's not a lot of difference there, is there? In fact, I would say there's no difference at all. So what I'm going to show you, the fact that there's no difference there, really, there's no difference in sowing at all. So I'm going to show you how I am going to sow my seeds for this year. Okay, what I'm going to do this year, which is something I don't normally do, but I'm going to mix some vermiculite in with my compost. And that, can you see that? It's, oh, where are you? That stuff there. Okay, so it's a natural mineral that you can mix in with your compost, and it will just help to aerate the compost, help water retention. But as far as I'm concerned, if you can see, I'm just giving it a light mix there. As far as I'm concerned, again, it's going to make your life cheaper. If you can make your life cheaper, that doesn't sound right. It's going to make your life richer in that you're going to be using less compost, because this will just fill it. I know it's a tiny bit, but you think this compost here, this is just general multi-purpose potting compost with an onion in, apparently. Nope. There we go. And you are paying, this compost has got enough nutrients, a bit more in there, enough nutrients to keep it going over the growing season. No more. You would gradually have to replace it after a year, because it would have used all the nutrients up, and you can reuse it just as a medium to add to the rest of your soil. But by doing it this way, these seeds are not going to be in here for a full growing season. They're going to be in here for as long as it takes for them to germinate and grow big enough for me to be able to look at them and think, aha, now you need potting on. So probably a few weeks at most. So why waste more compost than you need to? She says, filling up a great big tray, when your seedlings or your seeds are only going to be in here for a little while. Okay, all I'm doing is just lightly tapping it. This compost is quite moist already. If it wasn't, I might just give it a little spray now before I put the seeds on, but as far as I'm concerned, that's fine. And what I'm going to do, I have got my saved scabious seed there. Can you see that? This was a beautiful flower. Let's see if I've got the actual original. Oh, I haven't got the original picture of this. A beautiful lace lacy white flower. And I'm hoping, if we look at these seeds, these are really, I mean, that's it. They're just so interesting as well. You learn so much about the plant by the seed themselves. These are the seed heads. And you know what? I'm just going to break them up really lightly and sprinkle them on half of the soil. Let me show you, look. So some of those, that's the bit that we're looking for there. Okay. So we don't really need these big bits, but if I put those down there, you can just sprinkle them through. You learn so much about the plant just by looking at the seed. I mean, look at this. It's beautiful. Can you see that? Oh, incredible things. So I'm going to take the big bits out because that is literally how I picked them. I just picked the heads off the plant, and the seeds came with them. So nice and dry, papery dry, and I am just going to, if I show you, this is my little magical trick. It's not really a magic trick. I'm going to put that over half of there in an attempt to only sow half of this, because I don't, much as I like these scabious, I don't want a whole load. I have left some in the ground that have overwintered. The plants themselves aren't going to come back, but I'm going to keep an eye out for the soil around them, just to see if they have self-seeded, because some plants will self-seed far more readily than others. Okay, what I'm going to do now, put that one away, I am going to do calendula. Now, if my daughter has got a new garden, or rather a new to her garden, and I am certainly going to be encouraging her to grow these. Look at calendula seeds. These are one of the classics, I think. You just pick the seed head and they just fall apart. When they're ripe, they just fall apart in your hand and you know that they are ready to go. And it's these lovely curly ones here. Can you see that? That we're looking for. And all I'm going to do again is sprinkle them. You see, that's a bit of chaff. Doesn't matter. These are free. I'm not going to be too precious about them. I mean, obviously, if you want a specific variety of vegetable or flower, maybe you want to grow an F1 version that you've never tried before, you are going to want to buy that seed to give it the best possible chance. If, like me, you just want a few flowers in your garden and you don't want to pay through the nose, it's worth a go. And like I say, I'm doing flowers here. Beans, peas, any of your vegetables, onions, anything, cabbage, they will all produce flowers at some point. Okay, right, that is that. This is coming back in a minute. I'm going to very, very, very lightly cover these up. Just with exactly the same compost. I might have to get a little bit more out. I'm hoping I'll have just enough, to be honest. Lightly sprinkle that over, and I'm just going to give it a last little pressing. Oh, let's get that from under there. No use hiding from me, compost, I know you're there. Okay, those seeds are really lightly covered now, and they can think, oh, time to wake up. But before they do, I've got my labels, look. Look, living and learning. Get into the habit of doing your labels. There we are, and my calendula. And if I had a lovely little spray bottle, I would spray the top of that now, but I haven't. So what I'm going to do straight away, I'm going to put it in what we call a gravel tray. There we go, like that. And I'm going to fill that, not fill it, but half fill it with water, and that way those seeds are going to start drawing up, or the soil is going to start drawing up the water from beneath, and it'll moisten the soils from beneath, because you do not want to just be, you know, watering it willy-nilly and watering the seeds all over the place, especially when you've got two lots in one seed tray, because they'll just all swap over and get each other messed up. Last thing I'm going to do, cover them. Now, to do this, let me move those out of the way before they get wet. To do this, you need to make sure that you are checking on your seeds, if not once a day, if not twice a day, once a day, because what this does, as soon as your seeds start to poke their head above the surface, they are going to be looking for light. So as soon as you see the first ones, you want to remove that. You could instead, you could put on, let me just see if I've got one to hand. Yes, I have. You could use one of these plastic trays to put on the top. Okay, if you can manage to get it over the top of your things. You could put that on, that would keep the moisture in, that would produce a nice moist environment. But to be honest, I find doing this with my flower seeds is a surefire way of getting some good germination. So give it a go. It's up to you. There'll be people out there who, again, as ever with my videos, will be shouting at the screen saying, no, Jane, you never do that. You only do it with parsnips. But believe you me, I've done it with flowers and it works. So it's up to you. See what you've got to hand. And yeah, that's it. So hopefully I have got this year, let's see, if I'd been buying that scabious, I know that was £2.99, and I know my, what was it? Oh, my calendula was free, but let's say, all right, a couple of pounds worth for the calendula if I'd bought a packet. £5 of seeds in there for nothing. I tell you what, it soon adds up. So give it a go. Have a little go with some saved seeds. If you're a bit scared about it, just try a few and see if you can compare the results when they grow, because if they're anything like my sweet peas, they will be exactly the same.